Welcome back to Superbly Said Advanced English Vocabulary and Phrases.
Hey, everyone.
And just a quick note before we jump in. Today's material is actually drawn from a SpeakDuo lesson. You can go to SpeakDuo.com to meet new people from around the world who are practicing English on video calls to become more confident with their English speaking abilities.
Yeah, it's a really fantastic resource.
It definitely is. And, today we are skipping the basics. We are diving straight into some highly native idiomatic phrasing, right?
Exactly. So this is tailored specifically for advanced English learners. We're actually pulling directly from the Hollywood Reporter Actors Roundtable interviews.
Right, which are always so fascinating to listen to.
Oh, absolutely. Because these are, top professionals naturally communicating these really complex, nuanced experiences.
Yeah, and there's this interesting through line I noticed. When they talk about their careers, it's always this journey. And it always starts with, like, a spark.
A spark, yeah, an initiation.
Right. Like this first phrase we have, cross your radar. By definition, I know it means something suddenly comes to your attention, but, I mean, why wouldn't I just say something caught my eye?
Well, it comes down to the mechanism, right? Catching your eye is very active and visual, like a bright red sports car catches your eye.
Okay, yeah.
But crossing your radar, it implies something entering your much broader field of awareness. So, think of an air traffic controller looking at a screen.
Right, they aren't looking for one specific plane.
Exactly. They aren't actively seeking it out, but their systems pick up the blip. It just crosses the radar.
Ah, so it's about passive awareness becoming active focus. So like in the workplace, you might tell a colleague, that specialized localization training opportunity only managed to cross my radar after your email recommendation.
Precisely. The training existed out there in the world, but the email put it on your screen.
Put the blip on the screen, yeah.
And for anyone taking the IELTS speaking exam, particularly part 2 where you have to narrate a story, it's a brilliant way to describe a new discovery.
Oh, definitely.
You could just say, a local language exchange crossed my radar, so I decided to join a session. It just sounds incredibly natural.
It really does. So, okay, once that opportunity is visible, you have a choice. You have to decide if you're going to act on it.
Right, the moment of truth.
Which brings up the idea of needing to take the leap.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning, bravely doing something risky or entirely new.
Yeah.
But people also say, like, I'm going to take a chance. How is a leap different from a chance?
Basically, gravity.
Gravity.
Yeah.
Taking a chance can be incredibly low stakes. You take a chance on a new coffee shop.
Right.
Or you take a chance by guessing an answer on a test. But taking the leap requires a major life-altering commitment. You are literally standing on the edge of a cliff, jumping into the unknown.
There's no half leap.
Exactly. No half leaps. You can't change your mind in midair.
So at work, you'd reserve this for massive professional moves. After months of planning, he decided to take the leap and leave his role to launch a private firm. Yes, jumping into the void. And for an IELTS response about, say, career changes, you could say, I might take the leap and start freelancing to try a new kind of work.
And then I guess once you take that leap and land in the new environment, the romance kind of fades.
Oh, it completely fades. That's when the reality of the work begins.
And that's when you have to pay your dues.
Yes, paying your dues, meaning doing unpleasant work to earn respect.
See, when I hear dues, my mind immediately goes to, like, paying a union fee or club membership.
Right, literal money.
Yeah. But here we're talking about effort. So how does that differ from simply saying someone works hard?
Well, working hard is really just about the energy you expend. I mean, a CEO can work hard.
It's true.
But paying your dues is fundamentally about hierarchy. It's about humility. It implies enduring unglamorous, repetitive tasks, a rite of passage.
Oh, I see.
You're doing the grunt work to prove you deserve a seat at the table.
Earning your place in the ecosystem.
Yeah.
So he spent several years handling repetitive introductory data tasks to pay his dues before leading the department.
Exactly. He didn't just sweat, he earned trust. Or, in an IELTS context, you might say, I paid my dues as an intern, doing routine tasks until people trusted my work.
And once you've earned that trust, I imagine you start dealing with much more complex problems.
You do. You have to peel back the layers, meaning gradually discovering hidden truths or deeper details.
Peel back the layers. I always think of an onion with this one.
Yes, the classic onion metaphor.
But is there a negative connotation here? Like, are you digging into something you shouldn't be?
Not necessarily negative, no, but it definitely implies the situation is obscured or, inherently complicated.
Okay, so how is it different from just looking closely at something?
Well, if you look closely at a painting, that's static. You're just staring. But peeling back the layers is an ongoing, active process of uncovering complexities one by one.
Right.
You find one truth, and underneath it, there's another.
It's an investigation. So in the workplace, to discover why our software system continually crashes,
Right.
we must peel back the layers of code exceptions. You dissect the architecture.
You don't just glance at the error report exactly. Or you could say, I peeled back the layers of my colleagues' behavior and learned they were under a lot of stress.
Oh, that's a great one. You move past their grumpy reaction to find the root cause.
Right. And doing that requires a certain mindset. You have to willingly embrace that difficulty, which we call choosing to lean into something.
Lean into it. I love the physical imagery here. Like, if you're just dealing with a problem, you're putting up with it reluctantly.
Right, like dealing with a flat tire. Nobody wants to do that.
Exactly. But leaning in feels like you're literally shifting your body weight toward the resistance.
That is the perfect distinction. You actively embrace the discomfort because you see the growth potential. You lean into the win.
So he leaned into the challenge and learned new skills fast. He didn't avoid it.
He threw his weight behind it, yes. Or, for an examiner, you could say, I leaned into public speaking practice and my confidence improved quickly.
Though I will say, when you are leaning into those hard things, you usually need someone there to anchor you.
Oh, absolutely. To provide stability during difficult times.
And again, the imagery here does the heavy lifting. I mean, helping someone is so broad.
Yeah, you can help someone carry a box.
Right. But when I hear anchor, I instantly picture a ship in a massive storm. You aren't stopping the storm for the person.
No, you can't control the weather.
Right. But you are keeping them from crashing into the rocks.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's about providing emotional or practical stability when everything else feels chaotic. You become their fixed point.
So her calm advice anchored him during the stressful project. She was the solid ground.
Yes. And an IELTS example could be, my friend anchored me when I changed jobs by offering steady support and advice.
That's a beautiful way to phrase it. But, you know, deep work isn't always high-state storms. Sometimes there's downtime.
Thankfully, yes. And that's when you might kick around, which means to spend time idly or casually waiting.
Which feels entirely different from waiting around. When I picture someone waiting around, they're like tapping their foot, checking their watch.
Annoyed.
Yeah, clearly annoyed.
Waiting around is tedious, but kicking around has a very casual, low-pressure vibe. It implies you don't really mind the wait because you're amusing yourself.
Okay, I see.
It's like gently kicking a pebble down the street while you walk.
Just totally unstructured time. Like we kicked around at the cafe while waiting for the show to start. No stress.
No stress at all. Or I usually kick around the neighborhood, visit a coffee shop, or read in the park.
Right. Eventually, though, the downtime ends and you hit obstacles.
That's where the mental game gets tough.
Yeah, the frustrations. And the first phrase here is when something manages to get in your head, meaning to cause self-doubt or overthinking.
And this feels far more insidious than just worrying, doesn't it?
It really does. Because worrying is about external things, worrying about the rain, worrying about a deadline.
Right.
But something getting in your head, it feels like a virus has infiltrated your mental operating system.
It's pure internal sabotage. An external trigger has bypassed your defenses and is actively disrupting your focus.
So you might tell a colleague, you know, don't let one mistake get in your head before the next attempt. Clear the virus out.
Exactly. Or if you're recounting a story, you'd say, a short critique got in my head and I kept replaying it for hours.
We've all been there. And if you let those things stay in your head too long, you might actually blow it.
Oof, yeah. To completely ruin a great opportunity.
I feel a heavy sense of dread just hearing that phrase. I mean, making a mistake is fixable.
Usually, yes.
You misspell a word in an email, that's a mistake. But blowing it feels huge.
It carries absolute finality. When you blow it, the implication is that a rare, fantastic opportunity was right in front of you and through your own actions.
It's just totally gone.
Totally and permanently gone. The door is slammed shut.
So by completely forgetting to attach the verified QA metrics during the presentation, I managed to blow it.
Yeah, that's a nightmare scenario. Or she blew it by arriving late to the important interview. There's really no coming back from that today.
And for an IELTS prompt about failure,
you could say, I once blew it in a presentation, but I learned to prepare better and practice more.
But, you know, we have to acknowledge that sometimes the failure isn't actually your fault.
That is very true. Sometimes things just go out the window.
Meaning plans are completely abandoned or ruined by circumstances. But how does that contrast with just, like, canceling plans?
Well, You actively cancel a reservation. You are in control.
Right, I make the phone call.
Exactly. But when plans go out the window, external forces abruptly and totally destroy them. You are left completely helpless. You had a structure, and the universe just tossed it out the metaphorical window.
Total loss of control.
Yeah.
So at work, when our primary funding source was abruptly canceled, all our structured operational plans went out the window. It wasn't a choice.
No, it just happened to you. Or for an IELTS Part 2 story, my outdoor party went out the window when it rained all afternoon.
Right. But if you push through those moments of helplessness, you hopefully reach the phase of triumph.
The best part.
Yes. And the first sign of that is when you win out. To finally succeed after a long struggle, I assume the nuance between winning out and just winning is the timeline.
The timeline is key, yes, because winning is just an event.
Like you win a poker game.
Exactly. But winning out is also about what is actually doing the winning. It's usually an abstract quality that wins out.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it's not necessarily the person. It's the person's patience or effort or resilience that finally breaks through the resistance after a really prolonged period.
The abstract quality gets the trophy.
Precisely.
So after months of work, persistence won out and the idea was accepted. Persistence crossed the finish line.
Yes. Or, after weeks of training, my effort won out and I completed the race.
And a very satisfying byproduct of winning out is getting to prove someone wrong, meaning to show that someone's negative opinion was incorrect.
Which is so much more powerful than winning an argument.
Oh, yeah. Because winning an argument just means you have good debate skills. You're just using words.
Exactly. Proving someone wrong relies entirely on action. It is your tangible success that refutes their doubts.
You don't have to say a single word.
Your results do all the talking.
So, he trained hard to prove someone wrong who doubted his skills. The training and the result are the proof.
Perfect. Or for IELTS, yes, I practiced a lot and managed to prove them wrong by succeeding on the project.
And when you achieve that level of undeniable success, people start referring to you as the real deal.
The real deal. Someone or something that is completely authentic.
Which is a massive compliment compared to just being qualified. I mean, qualified means you have the right paper credentials.
You hold the degree, yeah.
Right.
But the real deal means having undeniable, authentic, proven talent that leaves absolutely no room for doubt.
It's earned.
Earned through consistent excellence in the real world, not just in a classroom.
So you could say her extensive knowledge of specialized translation mechanics proved she is absolutely the real deal.
She doesn't just have a certificate. She has deep practical mastery.
Or, I met a mentor last year who was the real deal, honest, helpful, and very experienced.
And, you know, when everything is operating at that level of excellence, you might find yourself in a situation that is all gravy.
All gravy. A situation that is completely fine or an extra bonus. Good is the baseline here, right? Good is standard.
Right. Good as expected. All gravy implies a situation is exceptionally smooth. Or it's a delightful extra bonus layered on top of what you already needed.
Like actual gravy on a meal.
Exactly. You already have the meat and potatoes, so the gravy is just an extra layer of richness.
Getting an extra day off after the deadline was all gravy.
Yeah.
We already finished the project, but now we get a bonus day.
Or after finishing a big exam, the free weekend felt all gravy.
Which brings us to our final phrase in this journey. When the dust settles. Meaning, when a chaotic situation finally becomes calm.
Yes.
But why use that over just saying, when it's finished?
Because finishing just denotes an ending. You know, the movie finished, the meeting finished. But when the dust settles inherently implies there was a preceding period of extreme chaos or conflict or massive upheaval. It evokes the imagery of a collapsed building.
Or a wild stampede.
Exactly. There is literal dust in the air obscuring your vision.
So you literally can't see the path forward until the dust drops. You're waiting for clarity.
You are.
We should finalize our long-term structural changes next week when the dust settles after the merger. You can't plan while the merger is causing a tornado of paperwork.
That perfectly encapsulates it. Or when the dust settles, I usually cook a nice meal and relax for the evening, implying the week was a total whirlwind.
All right, well, this is the moment of truth. We are moving into the rapid-fire quiz portion of this deep dive.
Oh, my favorite part.
It's time to see how well these mechanisms stuck with you. I will read the question and the options as option A, option B, and option C.
And I'll make sure to heavily repeat the target phrase so you know exactly what you're listening for.
Awesome. And remember, feel free to pause the podcast here if you need a second to think about the answer before we reveal it. Let's get right into it. Question 1. Which sentence uses the idiomatic phrase when the dust settles correctly based on context? Option A. The construction cleanup crew explicitly sweeps rooms only when the dust settles physically. Option B. The deeply frustrated young retail clerk aggressively managed to completely drop a white baseline. Or, option C. We should finalize our long-term structural changes next week when the dust settles after the merger.
Right, so listen for the figurative use of when the dust settles. When the dust settles.
Feel free to pause the podcast here if you need to think about the answer.
And the answer is option C. Just like we discussed, you have to wait for the chaos of the merger to end when the dust settles before making those structural changes.
Brilliant. Question 2. Select the context where the phrase "peel back the layers" is most appropriately used figuratively. Option A. To discover why our software system continually crashes, we must peel back the layers of code exceptions. Option B. The professional kitchen assistant went downstairs to quickly peel back the layers of large onions. Or, option C. The incredibly clumsy warehouse inventory clerk accidentally managed to quickly buy some large players.
We are looking for peel back the layers. Peel back the layers. Peel back the layers.
Feel free to pause the podcast here if you need to think about the answer.
It is option A. Remember, peeling back the layers implies uncovering complex truths, like dissecting those code exceptions to find the root software crash.
Question 3. In which situation does someone accurately utilize the advanced phrase, "pay your dues," figuratively? Option A. The University Financial Accounting Office requested that she quickly pay your dues before examinations. Option B. He spent several years handling repetitive introductory data tasks to pay his dues before leading the department. Or option C. The completely terrified young wilderness traveler unexpectedly noticed an exceptionally massive heavy wood cruise.
The target here is pay your dues. Pay your dues. Pay your dues.
Feel free to pause the podcast here if you need to think about the answer.
The correct choice is option B. Paying your dues is all about doing that unglamorous early career work, like those repetitive data tasks, to earn your place.
Right on. Question 4. Which response best demonstrates the advanced phrase, "go out the window," figuratively? Option A. When our primary funding source was abruptly canceled, all our structured operational plans went out the window. Option B. The careless office assistant accidentally managed to let a loose stack of paperwork fly, go out the window. Or option C. The incredibly clumsy warehouse inventory clerk accidentally managed to quickly catch that white shadow.
Focus on the imagery of go out the window, go out the window, go out the window.
Feel free to pause the podcast here if you need to think about the answer.
It's option A. This perfectly illustrates plans being totally destroyed by external forces out of your control, like when that operational funding was canceled.
Halfway there. Question 5. How would a professional accurately use the phrase "cross your radar"? Contextually. Option A. The military aviation defense technician monitored international flights scheduled to cross your radar screen. Option B. The completely confused amateur theater group unexpectedly decided to proudly paint a clean harbor. Or option C. That specialized localization training opportunity only managed to cross my radar after your email recommendation.
The phrase is cross your radar, cross your radar, cross your radar.
Feel free to pause the podcast here if you need to think about the answer.
The answer is option C. It's the figurative way of saying that the localization training finally came into your broader field of awareness.
Question 6. Which scenario perfectly illustrates the meaning of the idiomatic verb "blow it" contextually? Option A. The high-pressure wind machine automatically started to blow it across the engineering test structures today. Option B. By completely forgetting to attach the verified QA metrics during the presentation, I managed to blow it. Or option C. The incredibly clumsy hotel maintenance worker accidentally managed to completely drop that red bit.
We are hunting for the absolute finality of blow it, blow it, blow it.
Feel free to pause the podcast here if you need to think about the answer.
Option B is the correct answer. Forgetting those vital QA metrics in a big presentation is the tragic example of completely ruining an opportunity.
Too real. All right, question 7. Which sentence accurately utilizes the phrase, "take the leap" figuratively? Option A. After months of planning, he decided to take the leap and leave his role to launch a private firm. Option B. The track and field sports trainers instructed competitive athletes to physically take the leap forward safely. Or option C. The deeply confused young kitchen assistant accidentally managed to quickly slice a fresh sleep.
Focus on the major commitment implied by take the leap, take the leap, take the leap.
Feel free to pause the podcast here if you need to think about the answer.
It's option A. Launching a private firm after leaving a stable role is exactly the kind of massive, cliff-jumping commitment this phrase describes.
And finally, question 8. Which of the following statements correctly uses the real deal contextually? Option A. The commercial real estate brokers finalize a massive legal contract containing the real deal parameters. Option B. Her extensive knowledge of specialized translation mechanics proves she is absolutely the real deal. Or option C. The completely confused amateur artist unexpectedly managed to beautifully paint a giant yellow wheel.
Listen for the mark of true authenticity. The real deal. The real deal. The real deal.
Feel free to pause the podcast here for you to think about the answer.
The answer is option B. Having such undeniable mastery over translation mechanics proves someone is authentically talented, not just qualified on paper.
Amazing. If you nailed those, you are definitely operating at a high level of advanced English comprehension.
You really are. And, I think there's a vital takeaway here for anyone trying to level up their language skills. Language is a living, breathing thing.
Oh, completely.
When you look at phrases like peel back the layers or when the dust settles or anchoring someone, notice how intensely visual they all are.
Yeah, you can literally see the storm or the radar screen or the edge of the cliff.
Precisely.
Yeah.
So next time you catch yourself struggling to express a complex feeling or a tricky workplace dynamic in English, stop trying to translate word for word from your native language.
Right, that just leads to frustration.
It does. Instead, ask yourself, what is the visual image of this feeling? If your plans are ruined, do you picture them flying out a window? If someone helps you, do you picture a heavy anchor dropping to the ocean floor?
That's such a great way to reframe it.
You might just invent an idiom of your own, or at the very least, you'll naturally gravitate toward the way native speakers truly express themselves.
From tracking a blip on a radar screen to jumping off a cliff, it really is all about the picture in your head. Well, thanks for taking the leap with us today on this deep dive. Keep leaning into your practice, and we'll see you next time.